This is what I will call the AV stack. This will be one video for all three, which I rarely do, but I figure it's time because how exciting are these black boxes really? This is a VCR DVD recorder. It's got an HD out or in, one of those, but not both, unfortunately, because this I bought just as people were finally saying, okay, we understand, no more standard definition TV. And no, it's got an HD out. That's what it is, HDMI out, because I've plugged into the TV, which you can see here in the corner. And so we can watch things on this in reasonable resolution. Things I don't like about this never has worked. Since the moment I got out of the box, I thought this would be great. When I occasionally have to play a tape or copy one, it'll be right there. I won't have to mess with cables. Nope, always jams up. So this part, not my friend. This has worked great. And it records, and you can set it with a timer. So when Letterman was having his final shows, this doesn't have a tuner, so I had to use the tuner in this and plug it into that and tune it to the channel and then set this to record, and I recorded his final week or two on DVD just to have in case, someday something happens because someone wants to see it, because as you know, I mean, this is 2016, this is the first time in history that Johnny Carson shows, for example, have been available in reruns in 24 years. So who knows, by the time Dave's shows are 24 years old, if anyone will even be interested, if there's an outlet to see them, who knows. So I saved them for that reason. Occasionally I'll record other things. And it's pretty useful. This, in the other video, I was talking about the Sony Digital 8 deck. This is how I archive things off of that. I put them to DVD, so I've got a physical thing to save, and then when I need to edit them, load them up online, I can just rip off of those DVDs. It's much less time-consuming than hooking a digital camera into the computer and hoping there's no glitch or no issue, and it encodes the whole thing. How many times have you gotten to the end of a 1-hour tape and your computer says, oh, there was an error, you have to restart it, and that's a big pain. This has got not only S-video, which is in the back, it's got DV FireWire in, so that's a plus as well. Somewhere, very inexpensively, I found FireWire to FireWire cables years ago that I use for that. This VCR, this is a laptop, which we're not going to talk about. If you don't know that, you should stop watching these videos. This VCR, it's a 9450, and you probably can't see, I'm tethered. A PV-9450, I bought, I don't know, a half dozen of these, maybe a dozen to give to other people or to sell to them, back when I worked at Best Buy in the late 90s. And I could tell this is going to be, as the new models came in after this, that this was the last really well-made model. It had all the features you wanted. It was easy to program to record, to program the channels in. Hi-Fi, 4 heads, looked great. Doesn't have S-video in or out, but it's just perfectly fine for what you need it to do. Very robust. I've been using it for that long, and I don't use it very much anymore. Oh, but there is a tape in there. I wonder what I was doing. Oh, I know what this is. This is my, as you can see, my stock. I gotta record this, throw a tape in there. Tape. And this replaced, before this we had a PV-1320. And if you know anything about the model numbers for Panasonic VCRs, that model is from 1983. That was our home VCR for years and years prior to us getting this 9450. No, I take that back. There was a Mitsubishi in between. HSU 57 maybe? 50, 53. That was a great deck. Pretty much had all the features of this, 4 heads, hi-fi, but it had a jog shuttle dial, which was very useful. And that eventually wore out because I mentioned Letterman earlier. My brother would tape Letterman every night to watch the next day for years, and that just wore that thing's heads right out. But it looked great. It played back tapes from the old 2-head mono 1320, and they look pretty good. But on this, they look really good. So maybe it's a Panasonic to Panasonic thing. I don't know. But I had so many of these. Well, I still have 2 or 3 back in storage just in case if I ever need them. Although about 2 years ago, I was sending all my old VHS tapes to the Chicago Fuzzy Memories, those folks, all the old TV shows I taped. So I have very few, oh, hello. I have very few VHS tapes left, just a few like this to record things. And this tape actually has, from the night of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, part of the news. It doesn't have the end of the game because my wife put it on the wrong channel. I wasn't here. I had to be somewhere else dealing with NBA Cavs-related things. But my wife, I told her, pop a tape in and do this. Well, she didn't do that, and so it didn't end up getting the thing. But it's okay. You know, it wasn't a big deal Game 7 of the NBA Finals with the Cavs. I mean, that happens every year, so it's fine. It doesn't really, not a big thing. Anyway, so these VCRs, I love them. They're great. And the remotes are very ergonomic. In fact, I think I have one of the remotes here. Very easy to use. They're lit. Oh, they even say light tower. They light up. They can control your television in a lot of cases. So this VCR was a phenomenal buy. And they were very inexpensive when I was buying them because people were moving out of this, and this was considered middle of the pack, but they didn't carry anything else. I think they carried one more model at Best Buy, and I don't remember it, but it was almost identical, except it didn't have hi-fi stereo. It's only 4 heads, which seems silly. Just go ahead and put it in. The last piece of this puzzle, you're wondering why I have 2 DVD players, because I can use this to play. This I bought in 2001. It was about a year old, used. It's a very odd beast as far as the way it goes. It's got a variable volume out on the remote. It won't let you output analog, stereo, audio, and digital at the same time. It'll play MP3 discs, which was unusual. It might play the photo discs, which were popular for a while. I don't know. The reason I got this, though, in Apex, it's not the most well-known brand. The reason I bought this was I'd read online, and it turned to be true. If you pop the top open, there was a single IC about that big that you could pop out, and you bought a replacement from some third-party hacker or somebody. It looked identical, went right into the same spot. I'm sorry. I think that when you popped it open, there was no IC in this one slot, but you had to pop it open, and you could put in an IC that you bought. It was pretty cheap, and this thing was pretty cheap. And this became region-free. You could play discs from any region. You could play them out without copy protection, so you could record them. And that was a huge thing to me, because at the time, 2001, I enjoyed the show Family Guy. Family Guy had gone off the air, we thought forever, and most of the episodes were not out on DVD here, but they were in England. So I was able to get a copy of the set from England, and I could play them out, and I think I made copies of them onto like S-Video, Super VHS tape, which I used to have one of those recorders. So that was real helpful to use this to play that. Indian movies, foreign films from other countries, you could play those right out of here onto your TV with no problem. Sometimes you could still play those on your computer back then, and now, of course, now you can get everything online, but back then, this was very helpful for that. And then, the biggest thing, with kids. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a Disney company DVD, but Disney DVDs, you put them in, and it is like an obstacle course to try and get to the actual film. There's fast play. Click on fast play, and they say something like, click on fast play to get to a selection of interesting tidbits before your film, or something they say like that. Fast play is not fast. Fast play is where it takes you to all the promos for other films and trailers and commercials for the Disney parks. And then the other one says, well, you can go to standard. That's your other option. Well, that's what you want, because you want to get to the movie. Then you hit it, then you've got the Magic Kingdom logo, and then other things happen. It takes 20 minutes. And I've never had screaming, crying kids. Knock wood, my kids have been angels as far as behavior. I've never tantrums or anything for a movie. But I wanted to get to things already. So it was great to be able to play a movie out of here from the library instead of paying who knows what from the Platinum collection and putting it on a tape. And then, when they wanted to watch the movie, boom, tape goes right in, you play it. Tape gets damaged, you just do the whole thing over again. Whereas if a DVD gets damaged, you're in big trouble. We had a DVD of, I want to say Monsters University recently, that the second time taking it out of the DVD case, it cracked in two, the second time. And there's no way to get it replaced or anything. So this worked out great to make these tapes and play them, and then the tape would stay parked, so if the kid wanted a snack, or if you needed to take a stop for other reasons, you could pop it back in at the same spot, and that would be good. So that was very helpful to have this for, and that's now all that's left, really, of the AV madness that once ensued here. But that's the Panasonic PV-9450, Samsung DVD-RV357, and I believe there's an identical Toshiba model. I don't know the model number of that. And this is an Apex AD-500W.